So I warmly welcome you guys for this Python beginners level program. It is a 15 hours program. So basically we'll be dealing with, we'll be starting with very basic scratch on what we are going to start. Like we'll be just introducing with what is Python and what is, why Python is used, why Python is becoming more familiar nowadays. And then I just said, right, why Python is preferred over other languages. So we'll be starting with the very basic things, how to install Python, everything will be starting. And then we'll just move on with what is, how to play or how to code with the Python. Okay, so that will be the second step. And then we'll move on to the very initial step. Like we'll be just doing the entire coding. We'll be starting the coding sections in the thing. At the end of this 15 hours, we'll be doing a mini project. In that you will be assigned to do some codings, and we will be evaluated based on that. Okay, so let me start the session. So what is Python? So people might be asking, what is Python? So this is the very basic thing I just want to start with, right? So Python is a general purpose, high level, and an interpreter language, right? So what is meant by general? What does it mean by high level and an interpreter language? So general is even a learner can do something with Python, or a company point of view or an organization point of view, they'll be using Python, right? So it is a general purpose software. It is used in all domains. If at all you take an engineering field, a IT sector, a pharmaceutical field, a science background, everywhere Python is being used. So what does this high level refers to? So the high level refers to, basically if we classify the languages or the programming languages, we can just classify it into two things: high level language and low level language. So I'll just tell you a basic difference between high level and low level. Okay, high level is nothing but if I'm working in an environment, if I want to change my code, if I want to run my code, exact code in another environment, it will be very easy without any changing or without minimum change, with minimum change in that code. So low level language means we just want to rebuild the entire program. Okay, so this is a very basic difference between low level and high level languages. Okay, so here comes what is meant by interpreter language. So if we say some word like interpreted, we have another word, right? So that is compiler. So if you have done with something like C++, and all, you have came across the word compiler. What is compiler? So compiler is nothing but, guys, don't scribble in the screen, please. So compiler is nothing but if you are writing a set of code, okay, so suppose I am writing a code from line 1 to line 200, if I just run the program in C or C++, basically a compiler languages, it will just compile the entire code before it runs that, okay. In the same way, if it is comes in interpreter language, if I'm running a program like from 1 to 200 lines, it will just start running from, line by line. It will run first line, second line, third line. It will do like that. So if I have any error in some 50th line, if we go with the compiler languages, it will, before running, it will compile the entire code. So it will just pop up a message say you have an error in your code. Okay, so if you are using an interpreter language, it will run line by line, and when you have an error, it will just identify you where the error is, and it will be easy for you to debug too, right? So that is what we call as interpreted languages. So apart from this, Python syntaxes are very easy. See, if you have any knowledge on C++, while going across this session, you might find easy of the syntaxes which we are gonna use. Okay, so what is meant by dynamic semantics? What is mean by that? So dynamic semantics are nothing but, if you just say, I just shared, right? It is a line by line reading programming language, right? So it just automatically adjusts that according to that code. Suppose if I just get a value or something which I didn't identified in my code, Python by itself, having its inbuilt add-ons, it can adjust some to obtain some level, right? But without disturbing certain parts, right? So if I suppose I have a legacy of some 10 to 15 percentage, Python can adjust itself without disturbing the entire code. Okay, don't worry about that if you can't understand these general high level interpreter or the dynamic semantics. Okay, so while we go across the session, we'll be getting to know about it. Okay, so coming to the history, Python was developed by a person named Guido Ramrosem. So he invented this in the year 1989. So what is the purpose of creating the Python? Why this guy created the Python? Right? So Python was first developed by this Guido van Rossum as a hobby. Okay, he just developed so that he wants his colleagues to start coding, to get them attracted towards coding. So what he did is he made every syntax model. Okay, so if even as a new guy or a guy from not a IT or programming background can learn a Python and start programming it. This was his main intention. Okay, he just was searching for getting a name for this language. He just gave this name Python by referring a show called Monty Python's Flying Circus. Okay, so he just gave this name, or as the name of the Python came from this show called Monty Python's Flying Circus. Okay, since since Python uh, was developed in 1989, it didn't bloom that much far. It didn't bloom because it doesn't have any supporting materials or supporting libraries at that time, comparing with other languages like C or C++ or Java. So it didn't bloom that much. But when the time comes, like machine learning, artificial intelligence were on the field, the Python became the most used language in the world. Okay, so if you consider a programmer, okay, now currently 80% of the programmers use Python to develop their programs or code, right? So next we come to the question, why Python is popular, not other languages. Okay, so Python, it's easy. Python has easy syntax and high level features, which makes a perfect start for anyone who wants to start their career in program. Okay. Okay. So the very second thing is it's free. Guys, I just, as it is the first day, I'm just allowing people. It is disturbing, obviously disturbing my flow and the participants' flow also. So from tomorrow onwards, it will be exactly from 5, no one will be allowed. So from 4:45 to 5, we'll be allowing students. After that, the meeting room will be locked. At no case, it will be opened again. Okay. Yeah. So Python, it is, everyone know Python is a freeware. So you can just search in the net and you can download that Python software, even IDE. Okay, you can just modify the codes which you use, which you get from the library. So it is absolutely a freeware to develop your or to work in your platform. Okay. Not only this, let me go to the next thing. Applications. Okay. Applications. Applications means Python is used to develop n number of applications which are mostly of desktop GUIs, mobile application, web applications, service side codings, artificial intelligence, machine learnings, then algorithm which are related to that artificial intelligence, machine learning. Yeah, more. See, if you take an organization, any organization, whether it may belongs to some category or something, they will be using Python in the current world. Okay. So next thing is library and support. So as I said before, the major reason why the current programmers are using Python is it has a vast library and support. Okay. So if you want to develop uh, if you want to develop a code, you just don't want to start it from very basic scratch. Okay, so just what you can do is you can just develop a support. Okay, you can just develop a support, a library. You can just some code which is belongs to your application. You can just download it, you can break it, you can modify it, and you can do your job. Okay, apart from that, many programmers are daily jumping into this real world applications, and they are developing their own source codes or their own program codes. They will be providing you supports in terms of if you just have any sort of guidance if you need to in developing your program. Okay, so the next question comes, what are the features of Python? I just listed some seven top features actually. Okay. So the very first one is simplicity. As I mentioned, Python is the most, okay, Python is the most easiest programming language to learn. So apart from learning, I just saying, right, if you are studying some other languages, you just want to start with some basic environments or basic stuff. And again, once you are done with that, just guys, once again, let me lock the meeting so that people are keep on coming. Yeah. So I was just saying about simplicity. It's very easy to learn, and we can even just start coding in a couple of days when you're introduced to Python. Okay, so a person with no background or no prior knowledge on programming can even start with Python, right? So the very second thing is it is an open source. As I just said, it is absolutely free of cost. Even developers, personal use, programmers, everyone are using it free of cost, even though it have a large number of support and libraries, right? And then we just have the basic very main feature, portability. Suppose if you are writing a code in some other languages, and if you want to convert or if you want to change it to other environment, you might be either rebuilding the entire code, or at least you will be having some rebuilt works when you just transfer that from one medium to or one platform to another platform. If you consider Python, if you can just transfer the entire code from this Python platform to whichever languages also with zero rebuilding process or minimum rebuilding processes. Okay. So the very next thing what we can see is embeddable and extensible. Okay. What is this embeddable and extensible? So embeddable is nothing but, see, if I have a C program, if I just want to import into my Python, I just can directly import it. I can embed any code inside my program, right? Suppose if I just write my code in C, a part of code in C, and I just want to convert it into my, I just want to embed it into my Python program, I can obviously do that. So that future is called embeddable. And extensible is like your program can extend how much value you can give it to. So if you just see languages like C or C++, it is not a widely extensible program. It is like either if your input is this, your output was that, right? So while just we'll move on to the program, we can just see that how extensible the Python is. Okay. So the next features are, it's an interpreted language, it has a huge library, and it is object oriented, right? So what is meant by interpreted? I have just mentioned that it is not a compiler language, it interprets line by line until it runs the program, right? Then coming on to huge library, it has a huge library set so that you can just look at the libraries and you can do your work instead of building it from very basic scratch. Okay, so the next thing is, it is object oriented thing. Okay, what is meant by object oriented? Alias, I will be calling that oops. So object oriented is nothing but it is like converting the real time problem. Okay, so I'm just teaching you guys now. Okay, I'm just teaching you for 1 hour. For every 15 minutes I just want to turn on my charger and I want to turn off my charger. Okay, so I just don't, I hate to do that. So what I will be doing, I just start writing the my real time problem. I just write a set of code and I'll do that for every 15 minutes. Just turn on and turn off, right? So we can just directly convert that real time problem into our code, right? So we'll just move on. We will go while working on Python. We'll just move on to the same topics so that you will be having a clear picture on that. So where Python is used. So Python, as I said before, if you take any organization without Python, they won't be running that. So here I just named some big names, just Google, Dropbox, and Netflix. So obviously everyone might know what is Google is. Google is a search engine. So Google, what it does is, so if you are searching for a letter like Apple, it won't give you the result of entire website which has Apple. So it will just filter the website based on its rating, right? And then it shows you the top. So this process is actually done using Python. And apart from this, you have, if you take any service, web service website, like if I'm just if I just uploading my Word document and converting into PDF, I just give my image and remove as take as a transparent image. Whatever service based online websites works on Python. They will be having an API which was developed entirely with Python. Okay, so Dropbox. Dropbox is, as everyone know, Dropbox is a cloud service. In that, the server, and the client application are coded entirely using Python, right? So then, very next thing is Netflix, the fastest growing assert, US based assert it is, right? So it use machine learning algorithm actually. See, even in Amazon or if you use Hotstar, they will be using, you will be, once you are watching some shows, it will just suggest you the other show based on your interest, right? So those things are basically made with machine learning. Those machine learning algorithms are basically built with Python. Okay. Apart from this, NASA is major. They are working entirely, not entirely. Most of the things they are working in Python. Many agencies in America they are using Python. Many more things they are using, right? Your drive is using Google, every Google application, everything. If you take Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Drives, everything they are using Python. Okay, so we'll come to the course. So I'm the major question arises, okay, where do I start Python? Since we start this course from very basic scratch, so that people who don't even have prior knowledge on what is programming language, what is Python, they also can just go through in this 15 days program, and at the end of 15 days they can write their code by their own in Python. Okay, so we'll just come on to the course overview. Okay, so course overview. So basically first we'll be having our curriculum overview, and then we'll be seeing basic difference between Python 2 and Python 3. Okay, then the third thing is how to approach this course. Okay, next thing we'll be seeing the Python setup. Okay, how to install Python, sorry, the environment selection, Jupyter notebook, what is that? Then additional learning resources will be providing after every classes, and then the Git and GitHub overviews will be giving. Okay, the next thing is we'll just enter into the very basic elementary learnings of Python, where we'll be seeing object data structures. In that objects, we'll be studying with numbers, how to assign numbers or how to apply numbers inside Python code, strings, lists, dictionaries, and much more. Tuples, files, sets, booleans. Okay, and then we'll move on to the comparison operators, where we'll be seeing basic comparison operators and chain comparison operators. Completing these two topics, you'll be having a quiz. Okay, so after that we will be just we'll be learning what is if, elif and else, and then we'll move on to using if, elif and else. We'll be using for loops, while loops, and then range function, and then list comprehensions, and then doing this set of things we'll be having an assessment test. Okay, after that we'll be just going with methods and function. Okay, so we'll be seeing what is method, what is function, then lambda expressions, nested function statements, scopes, and then we'll be having a homework assignment that will be also evaluated by us. Once we are done with that, we'll just having a milestone project. So we'll be developing a game using Python. Okay, so let's get started for today's session. Okay, yeah. So the very basic thing, I just gave you a brief idea on how we gonna start this session. Okay. So in day one, till now we just saw what is Python, where is Python used, why Python is used, why Python is preferred over other languages. We just saw this, right? So in the rest of the sessions, we'll be just seeing how to install the Python. Okay, how to install Python, then and then how to select an environment. Okay, and then we'll just work on with some basic things. Okay, so let me just guide you how to install Python. Okay, just I'll navigate to my website, and I just navigate to python.org. Okay, where I can find a download tab. Okay, in that download tab, if you are using Windows, you can just click this and your application will get downloaded. Okay, and then once your application is downloaded, okay, so once your application is downloaded, it will be saved in your PC. Okay, so once it's downloaded, you can just open this. Okay, let me uninstall and install for you again, so that it will be easy for you to install. Yeah. See, Python installation have a basic step. If you miss that basic step, actually, your computer may not accept the path to it. So I'll just tell you how to add that path. Okay. Yeah. So once I download this Python file, exe file, I just double click that. Okay. Before that, let me just do things. Yes, this PC. Let me delete this files. Okay. Yeah. So once it is downloaded, you will be having your downloaded file here. Once double click that, it will ask for whether you want to do a normal installation or customized installation. Before choosing this, I strongly recommend you to check this box. Okay, this box actually adds the Python application to the path. Okay, so just make sure this box is checked and then click customized installation. Make sure every box here are checked. Okay, so go next. Here what you are supposed to do before doing this, just go to this PC local C, just create another folder called Python. Okay, just create a folder called Python. Okay, then go back to the setup, just browse in C, in this PC in C, select that Python. Okay, okay, in that instance give install. Okay, so once you give that, it's mandatory to use that add to path option. If you didn't check that box, obviously your computer won't get the path to find Python. Okay, so once this completes, it just so this is completed. Okay, so you just don't want to do anything here. I just give close. Okay, so to check whether my computer or the Python is installed properly in my machine or not, just I will navigate to my search bar. Okay, I'll just type COMM command prompt. Okay, I can just open command prompt like this, or else I can just right click here. If you are using Windows 10 or 10 means you will find PowerShell here. If you are using Windows 8 or older than that, you will just obviously get a command prompt option here. You can just press that, your command prompt will be opening. Or else what you can do is you can just press Windows and R. Your run button will be opening. You can just type CMD and enter. Your command prompt opens, right? So here I'm just actually in C user and then alphabet. I have a path, right? So I'm in C dictionary and then user and then alphabet, right? So if I want to check which directory I'm actually in, I just write CD, enter. So I am actually in C user alphabet, right? So I just write Python and enter. So when I do that, I just get a message like Python 3.8.5, which denotes my machine has installed successfully the Python program. Okay. So before and all, I just when we are supposed to enter, we have a single arrow mark, but now we have three arrow mark. So what does it means? So it means nothing but your Python interpreter got started. So if I give some values now, say 10 plus 2, if I click enter, I get 12. Okay. So in the same way, if I just give 30 minus 5, if I enter, I get 25. Okay. So this is the basic thing, right? So other basic commands I just want to say you people is, if I want to find by which directory I am, if I write quit, see, suppose if I write quit and enter, it just say either write quit braces or control Z to return to exit. If you want to exit the compiler, you just want to write quit open braces or control Z, right? Let me write quit. If I enter, so see the three arrow mark doesn't appear, right? So my interpreter got stopped or I get returned from the program, right? So I just write cd to find out which is my current directory. Obviously it is this, right? So I just find another what and all directories in my things. Okay, just I will write cd dar. So it says the system cannot find. So another option, basically you will be experiencing two types of invalid commands. The one is system cannot find the path. Next one is, let me show you. If I type, the next error is desktop is not, or else whatever command you enter, it is say like it is not recognized as internal or external command. Even if you didn't add path to your Python programming, and if you type Python, it will say Python is not recognized as internal or external command operatable program, and that's fine. Okay, so what it means, you didn't properly set a path to reach that function. So what I'm supposed to do, I just check what and all directory is there in my computer. So if I just type dir, I have set of directory lists where I can find which directories and all there in my computer. Okay, so I just find here. Let me move on to desktop. Okay, so I write dir and then d. I don't want to type the entire thing. If I just type D and I press tab button, entirely it will just show which directories and all starts with the letter D. If I just say enter, it just enter it to my directory, desktop directory, and finds I have a new folder here, Zoom thing here, right? So I have a set of things. It will just show me here. So if I again write cd, just show me the current directory, right? So if I want to go back, I can just use single dots or double dots. Okay. So this is the basic things if you work on with command prompt. Okay. So we just got installed Python. Okay. So how to work with Python? This is secondary. The first thing is, okay, we just install Python. Where we are going to work or where we are going to develop a code. Okay, so we'll be developing our code in some formats called IDE. So people might be asking, what is IDE? Let me open. We just install Python, right? If I write Python, see, if I open this Python IDE, I can find I just get this value, right? So what is this actually? So what that first question is, what is this? The second question is, I can find something apart from Python 3.5, 8.5 is shell. What is that? Okay. So IDE is nothing but a platform or something like a tool where you can use your entire tool so that you can just develop your program or code there. Okay. So it is like if you have a no, if you want to write something, you'll search for a notebook, right? The similar stuff. If you want to code, the platform to write your or to platform to edit your code is called IDE. Okay, since we install Python have an inbuilt IDE which is comprises of shell, or we just Python's IDE is mainly worked with Perl or shell script. Apart from this, main features of Python's are Python's functional program is will run or interpreted by C program, and then OOPS, that object oriented things will be carried out by C++. As I said before, scripting programmings, like if you develop an IDE, it will be developed carried out by Perl or shell script. And then if you work with modular function, it just go with modular 3. Don't worry about it. While we just go on to the session, it will be, I'll just tell you everything. Okay. So obviously we just see three arrows, setting the Python interpreter got started. So again, if I write 12 plus 6, I just enter, I just get my value. Okay. So people might be asking, okay, this interpreter is good. Okay. So if I want to copy my code, I just can copy and just can paste it again. I can run it. If I wrote 500 lines of line and if I get error, I can't go and edit in this, right? I can't go and edit in this. So making things much easier, we'll be installing another IDE called Anaconda. Okay, so let me just tell you that. Okay, we close this as of now. So you can just navigate to anaconda.com. Okay, so you can find their download. Once you download, it is a basic thing, so you won't find any difficulty in in downloading or installing Anaconda. Once you download that in your tool, you can just find Anaconda Navigator. Okay, so what is Anaconda Navigator? So Anaconda Navigator is nothing but it's an IDE. If you compare with Python's inbuilt shell IDE, it is much easier, much user friendly for the user to develop their code. Okay, so once I open this Anaconda Navigator, I just find many things. What and all are these? These and all are called environments. Okay, so if you are working, if you want to work out, you will be wanting different environment. If you want to sleep, you want an entirely different environment. If you want to enjoy, if you want to party, you want a different environment, right? So now the same way we have multiple environments here. So let me describe you what and all environment are used for which operations. Okay, so basic things are, if we are first, okay, if we are using if you want some environment to edit, only to edit or to just make minor changes, you will be using text editors environment. Basic examples of this text editor environments are Sublime Text, Atom. Those environment will be using for that. The second thing is full IDE. The full IDE is popularly known as Professionals IDE, where the professionals work to develop their program from entirely from scratch, or even they build from module to module. So, as I said, the professionals will be working on that. Okay, so the PyCharm, Spider, and all will be used under that. Okay, this R Studio is used to develop this R programming, right? Python's like R programming and all are there, no? So to develop that, R Studio is there. So for learners like us, we'll be using notebook environment. Here, I just can find Jupyter Notebook. If you want, if you want any other environment, or if you want, I just don't have PyCharm here. If I want PyCharm, I just can go here and just type here PyCharm and I get my environment. Okay, so there is nothing about it. By default, you will be getting these environment. Okay, so as of now, I'll just launch the notebook environment. Once I just click launch, it's opening in my Chrome browser. So the very first question people might be asking is, wait, it does need any connectivity or internet or something to run my code? Obviously no, right? So since if you just check the URL link, it just operate in your local host, either in 48, or it ranges from the address 48 to 8999. Okay, so it doesn't need any form of connectivity or anything apart from this. Okay, the next thing, how to work on Jupyter Notebook. Let me create a new thing for you. Okay, so how to create a new notebook for your program in this Jupyter disk? Just move on to new Python. Okay, So in this, once I'm done, I just got a new tab. I got my new notebook. So this is what I call the workspace environment. As I have toolbars, I have another set of quick accesses here. This is my entire notebook where I'm going to work out. Okay. So for you people's convenience, let me start with the very basic things as we discussed. I'll just type 10 plus 2. If I run this program, 12. Okay. Same way 25 minus 6 will fetch me 90. So I just have my pro code 1. I have output of code 1 is 12. So if I delete this, if I don't want this, if I delete, okay, if I delete or something, will it matters to me? No, obviously no. So this and this are nowhere interconnected or interrelated. Okay. So let me show you another thing. So if I just write a is equal to 10, I'm just running it. Either I can run using this quick access toolbar, or in my keyboard I can just press shift and enter. So when I do that, I didn't get any output, right? So I just assigned a value. So I didn't mention for any output, right? So I didn't get any output. If I just say print a, okay, if I print that, if I run that, I'm getting 10. Okay. So now people might be thinking we have relation between this. No, obviously no. See, this is a set of another program and this is a set of another thing. So it is nowhere related between the lines. So if I write a is equal to 10, enter and then print a. Okay. If I run that, obviously it is 10, right? So these are the very basic things. We want to know how to access Python or how to access the environment. Okay. So till this, we'll stop our today's session. Okay. Session, and we'll be having our doubts. Okay. So from tomorrow onwards, we'll just move on little by little, and at the 15th day, you'll be just working out with the problems with Python. Okay. So I'll just make you guys, I'll just stop sharing. I'll just make you guys, I'll to chat, I'll enable your chat so that you can chat with me for your, yeah, you can chat. You people can ask your doubt so that I can reply you. You people can use your chat